Good morning, Year 5. Happy Tuesday. Here are your answers to yesterday, and I also have the answers to the extension activity if you had a go at that too. Okay, moving on then. Here is your Fluent in 5 for today. Here are your answers. Today we are looking again at subtraction of decimals. This time we are going into our hundredths. Good news is the concept is exactly the same as before. We just need to add an extra column. So through all of this, I'm just going to put my little place value grid up behind my work there. All the way through this, you might find it useful to have place value headings somewhere for you to work to, because it's the lining up and understanding the place value that's going to help you. Let's look at this one together then. So we've got 3.24 take away 1.06, and we're going to start with our hundredths. So we've got 4 hundredths, we need to take away 6. We can't do that, so we need to regroup a tenth. You can see that's what they've done there, leaving 1/10 behind and adding those 10 hundredths to the 4 that were already there to give us 14 hundredths. Now we can subtract the 6 hundredths by crossing them out and leaving 8. And this is what that looks like as an abstract method at the side here. Then we've got our tenths. Well, we've got 1/10 left. And we haven't got to take any away because there's no tenths in the number we're subtracting. So we can just leave it there. And then we had 3 whole ones and we had to take 1 whole one away. So we cross it out and leave it there with 2 left. So here's the picture of how you might do it. And here is the abstract method at the side. So number 11 is talking about making sure we can regroup the numbers. So let's have a look at one of these together, and then you can pause and have a go on your own. Just going to cover that up for now. Right, okay, so 0.35 at the moment, that's 3/10 and 5 hundredths. If we had to regroup it, they've already told us they want us to have 2 tenths. So I've taken 1/10 and I've regrouped it. 1/10 would be 5 hundredths, and I've already got 5 hundredths. 1/10 would be 10 hundredths, and I've already got 5 hundredths there. So that will give me 15 hundredths. Okay, you could draw it to help you. So if we imagine I've got my ones, my tenths, and my hundredths, just going to draw this hopefully to help us. If I was going to draw 0.35, I don't want anything in the ones column. I want 3/10 and 5 hundredths. And I can see that it wanted me to turn it into 2 tenths and so many hundredths. So I need to get rid of one of these tenths. I'm not going to get rid of it, of course. I'm going to regroup it for 10 hundredths, which would look like this. So what I've ended up with are 2 tenths and 15 hundredths. And you can do that for all of these if you want to. You could draw them. So do what I've done. Do your place value grid. Draw in your counters to represent the first number, and then see what they want to happen with the others. Okay, if you're happy with that, you can pause and have a go at B, C, D, and E. I'm going to go through another one for those of you that need a little bit more support, and then we'll come back together after that for the answers. Okay, so let's have a look at B then. I've got my ones and my tenths and my hundredths here. Okay, 1.26 is 1 whole one, 1, 2 tenths, and 6 hundredths. Okay, which looks like that. Right, they want me to regroup it into so many ones, 1/10, and so many hundredths. We've got 1/10. We know we've only got 1/10, so we need to do something about this tenth. Let's regroup it into 10 hundredths there. And then let's see if that works. So we could have 1, 1/10, and 16 hundredths. That looks right to me. 1, 1/10, and 16 hundredths. There we go. Okay, so I've gone through another one for you. Have a go at C, D, and E, and then we'll come back together to look at the answers. Those are your answers to 11 then. Let's have a look at number 12. So there are 9 here to go through. I'm going to say that if you think you're okay to just whiz through these, then you can pause the video and have a go. I'm going to go through the first couple and then I'm going to ask you to do the rest. If you have done it, you can just whiz through my explanation and go to my answers and check that they match yours. Let's look at A then. So starting with our hundredths, I have to do 100th take away 700ths. I can't do that, so I'm going to regroup one of these tenths. There's only one there, so I've got leaving 0 behind, and that becomes 1100ths. 1100ths take away 700ths is 400ths. 0 tenths take away 0 tenths is 0 tenths. Decimal point goes in. 0 ones take away 0 ones is 0 ones, giving us the answer 0.04. Let's do one more together, then I'd like you to have a go. So B, 600ths take away 800ths. I can't do that, I haven't got enough, so I'm going to regroup one of these tenths. So I had 3, I'm leaving 2 behind, and the one that I've regrouped becomes 10 hundredths to give me 16 hundredths. 16 take away 8, leaves us with 8 hundredths. 2 tenths take away 1 tenth is 1 tenth, and then I've got 0 whole ones. Okay, pause now, have a go at the rest, and then unpause for your answers. There are your answers to number 12. A couple more to go through. So let's have a look at number 13. Okay, please could you have a go at 13A to D, making sure if you don't have the same amount, so if you look at B, 16.78 has 2 decimal places, 5.9 is only 1, so we do that little trick of putting the 0 on so it looks the same. That makes it easier. Okay, have a go at 13 and then unpause for my answers to see if yours look the same. There are your answers to number 13 then, and hopefully you can see I've left my working out there so you can see where you should have done any regrouping if you needed to. Okay, last one, a couple more to try then. Can you have a look at 15 and then we'll come back together and share the answers. Okay, 15A, then we had to put a 0 into your hundredths as a placeholder just to make it a little bit easier to do. So 0 hundredths take away 8 hundredths you can't do, so we're going to regroup a tenth there. 10 hundredths take away 8 hundredths is 2 hundredths. 4 tenths take away 6 tenths I can't do, I'll regroup a whole one. 14 tenths take away 6 tenths is 8 tenths, and 6 take away 3 is 3. And B, same thing then. This time I filled in zeros as placeholders in the tenths and the hundredths for that too, so that I could line the numbers up. 0 hundredths take away 5 hundredths I can't do. I need to regroup, but I haven't got any. So I'm going to regroup one of these whole ones into 10 tenths first. Then I'm going to take one of those tenths and regroup for 10 hundredths. 10 hundredths take away 5 hundredths is 5 hundredths. 9 tenths take away 5 tenths is 4 tenths. And 1 whole one take away 0 whole ones is 1 whole one. Okay, right. 14 just talks you through another one like the ones we just did there. So just a visual of each step there if you wanted to see it. We're going to finish practice 3 today. So let me just show you what that looks like. The first part is like we did yesterday. It's almost the script of what we're saying when we're subtracting, and you've got step by step there. It's really important if you show a broad understanding by being able to fill in the gaps of that one. And then number 7, 8 and 9 are some well, I say straightforward subtraction. Some of them are set out for you, some of them have got the same number of decimal places, some of them you might need to change so they look like they've got the same number of decimal places. Remember, you can put a 0 in as a placeholder at any point. For example, on this one, well, that's 20 whole ones. They've lined it up for us, but we could say, well, that's the same as 20 whole ones, 0 tenths and 0 hundredths, just to make it easier when we subtract. And if you whiz through that and you still have time in today's lesson, there are some additional activities that you can do that will challenge you to apply what you have learnt to some different situations. So if you do have time and you've finished everything else, that's your extension there. And I'll come back tomorrow with your answers.